All right, welcome to another edition of Two Guys and a Mic after another disgusting loss. I'm one of your hosts, Big Sean.
And I'm your other host, RP. How y'all doing?
I hope everyone is doing wonderful because we ain't right now. Once again, I don't want to do this podcast, but I did miss last week. I had family in town and other obligations and wasn't able to, join my partner in crime. So definitely got to, get one in today. And before we get started, I just want to say this. Ron has been saying certain things all along, really since last season. And a lot of it I didn't agree with. I kind of saw some of the red flags, some of the writing on the wall, but I kind of wanted to, give us the benefit of the doubt. And all that benefit of the doubt has come to a crashing end right now. It's over. And I'll give props when they're due. RP, my partner, Peanut, you are absolutely right about Kevin Stefanski and some of the red flags that you saw a long time ago. I can admit when I was wrong. I really just didn't want to see it. It's kind of like when your wife cheating on you and she out doing the most, but you kind of don't want to see it and you let stuff go. I know that's a horrible analogy, but that's kind of where I am. That's the space I'm in right now. I'm in a dark place, sports-wise. I'm in a very, very dark place. So I just wanted to say that I can give him props. I know he don't want props for that because that's the wrong thing to want props about. But he was absolutely right, and we'll get into those red flags later because there's a whole plethora of them. There's a virtual cornucopia of red flags that we have to discuss today.
It's so funny that you say that the virtual cornucopia because I was trying to find it. I couldn't find it for my background. I was looking for a horn of plenty with nothing in it. Because that to me that's like the perfect description of where this team is right now. We have so much talent. We have so much that we thought was supposed to be in this thing. I mean, when the hell have you ever seen an empty horn of plenty? That's what I feel like we have right now. An empty horn of plenty. And I'm gonna tell you something else. Every week I say I ain't bringing this up. I ain't gonna talk about this. I'm not gonna mention this. The truth is, the rightest person in that damn building was Odell Beckham. He was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. This ain't not that he's so stable or whatever, but he's just like, man, I gotta go. And it has, and just at least for right now, it's proven to be, he was right. And yeah, I think you're correct. I shouldn't say I think you're correct. I know you're correct. I don't want no props for, these dudes not being where I wanted them to be or nothing like that. It's an analogy I made last week when Baker was crying about us winning, or he's trying to win, and he knows that we're not used to winning. The one thing we are used to is losers, so I know what that looks like, bro. And I know when I see stuff that don't sit, correctly. And my thing with Stefanski is all the same. We're gonna get into all of that. I don't want to start there because we'll be there for a while. It was just a terrible weekend for football. It was a great weekend.
It was awful.
It was a good weekend for food. I ate well. I didn't do a whole heck of a lot of work. I did do some work, but not a heck of a lot. I saw family. It was good on every other front. And then the sports, came in on Saturday, and it was trash on Saturday, and it was trash, even trashier on Sunday. And I think it was made worse because I had to wait after the Michigan-Ohio State game that ended at like 3:00 on Saturday. Now I got to wait till 8:00 on Sunday evening to watch the Browns stink up the place. We could have did this at 1:00.
Exactly.
We didn't have to wait to the end of the damn day, while everybody's sitting around a TV watching us look like jackasses. So it just isn't a good spot for us fans. I can deal with some losing, and I can deal with a way to lose. I can't deal with some stuff just gets on my nerve. And what I saw in both of these games, I saw some flags that I don't like. So we'll start with the Browns because I think that's the one that means I could foresee Ohio State, changing stuff up and fixing some of the wrongs that happened on Saturday. Browns got it. They go. Here's what I hate and I don't want. 2 weeks until their next game, and they come out and look awful. That I'm gonna tell you, that's a show y'all don't want to tune in.
And they are gonna come out and look awful. And because once again, we have a coach that's stubborn, that's stuck in his ways, that doesn't want to adjust even when things aren't working.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. It's
a huge problem.
And I didn't think that he was like that. I'm thinking this guy, especially with the way that they have the front office and the whole system set up where they do like this collaborative type thing. I'm like, okay, if you're willing to come into a situation where it's going to be kind of more like a collaborative effort on a lot of fronts, then you're a guy that should be a little bit more flexible, willing to compromise, because that's what you have to do in that type of situation. And this fool just won't do it. Like it's so many things yesterday that disturbed me. First of all, the Browns lost 16-10 to the Ravens. The Ravens pretty much
that by itself is disturbing. But go ahead.
Yeah, the Ravens pretty much handed the game to us on a silver platter. You couldn't ask the defense to play any better than what they did yesterday. In a tough situation, which I did not think the defense was going to show up at all.
And this is the defense that hasn't shown up in games where they play lesser talent.
Right, exactly. You get 4 turnovers. I mean, it's the equivalent of, somebody bringing you a ribeye steak perfectly cooked with a baked potato with onions and mushrooms, and then you starving. You've been starving all week, and you proceeded to slap that shit off the table. That's exactly what they did yesterday. The Ravens was trying to hand us the game. We was like, we don't want it. Some other things, man. We're gonna get into all of this. So other things that's kind of went under the radar yesterday.
It's a bunch of stuff that
also very disturbing. Huh?
It's a bunch of stuff that just slid through.
Yeah. So let me ask you your opinion on this.
Okay.
One thing that I think that we kind of overlooked, this is OBJ aside, forget OBJ.
Okay.
And I'll say this, that we don't have really any depth at receiver. So one of the main issues really the past couple of weeks with our receivers being beat up, it's no depth there at all. Like no speed. The kid we do have that has some speed, Sports, he didn't know how to run routes yet. He's still raw. Now he has a concussion. Peoples-Jones is a nice receiver, but he's not a speedster. Jarvis is who he is, a very good receiver, but not a speedster. So we know all of that, right? So we know we're going to the game yesterday, guys beat up. And then one of your most reliable receivers, you decided just to make inactive yesterday for no rhyme or reason. So basically, y'all can't work something out. I don't know what Higgins did. Whatever reason, this dude evidently must rub coaches the wrong way. Because every coach we've had in here, he's pissed off, and he doesn't get playing time until he has to get playing time due to injuries or whatnot. He shows out, and then he gets steady in a rotation. He hasn't been in a rotation all season. We need receivers, and you make the guy inactive. Yeah.
He the Duke Johnson of receivers. He the guy who goes in, plays well, and then he got pulling back out. Like
right.
Or not Duke Johnson, Harrison. Remember a couple years ago
Jerome Harrison.
Harrison, he'd come in.
Yeah.
He get you 270 yards in a game, and then you don't play him no more.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said Higgins must have kicked somebody's dog. I can't think of anything that this dude did so bad that no one he's been here for what, 2 regimes? Or is this his 3rd
3.
regime?
3.
And I think only the first one, only Hugh played him. But
Not at first.
But I was gonna say, but not at
Yeah.
first. I was just getting ready to say, but not early on. And then, when Freddie came, we thought, oh yeah, Higgins had a great season the year before. This is gonna work out well. And it just didn't. So he was in a doghouse then, and now he's back, in another situation where he's in a doghouse. Stu barely sees the field, and he's a healthy scratch for JoJo Nats
And Bradley
for a kick return. Well, we already have Demetri Felton who can do that. You have a problem at wide receiver, so you have more than just that problem, but you have a problem at wide receiver. You have a broken down quarterback who needs any kind of help he can get.
Exactly.
And you don't put that help in front of him. This is what I was saying most of this season about Stefanski, about him not, as a coach, man, you got to get in front of this stuff. You got to save this dude from himself, Baker. You got to put your team. If the coach don't do nothing else, the coach's job is to put his team in the best position to win. And he's not doing that. Week after week after week, he's not doing that.
Right.
And like I was listening to the radio today, and people are still, mathematically we're not out of the play. And
yes, we are.
I felt like
we ain't mathematically, but we out the damn playoffs.
I felt like what's the coach for the Colts? Jim.
Jim Mora.
Jim Mora.
Yeah.
Playoffs. Y'all, why is it that you? I understand everybody wants to go to the playoffs, but what the hell are we gonna do in the playoffs? What the hell are we gonna do in the playoffs with this team, with this dude coaching? A part of it is, and what do I mean when I say that? What I mean when I say that is this guy is in about that deep.
Yeah, he's overwhelmed right now.
He can't, like, they said it today on one of the shows, like, we got one of those picks, and this dude didn't even see the pick. He's looking at this placard, hoping that something jumps out at him to tell him what to do next. Like, he's not even paying attention to the game. So if you ain't paying attention to that kind of stuff, that's what I mean when I say he's not good at situational football, because he don't know the situations.
And it's weird because we weren't this disorganized last year. So you would think going into year 2, you would have a better handle on things.
But see, here's the problem. He's not in over his head when everything is going good. It's easy to have stuff happen the way you anticipate it happening. If you go on the trip, you gas up, you get in your car, you go. But if you halfway or a third of the way to where you're going and you get a blowout, well, that changes everything. Now, but
right.
you didn't look for the jack. You didn't check your spare tire before you left. So now you gotta hope that you got all of that stuff. And that's where he is. He doesn't know if he has a spare tire. He doesn't know if he has a jack in the damn car. He doesn't know, where the flashlight is, because this happened in the middle of the night on the side of the road. He doesn't know these things. And it's all coming at him. And because he took such a strong stance coming in, and then he took this strong stance and won awards and got accolades. And you remember earlier in the season when I kept saying somehow we're saying this dude is the 12th best coach in the league. He's been doing this for 12 weeks. How? This is what I was talking about. I know I always seem like I'm a little bit over the top, but I kind of look at things in a macro sense. Again, I'm not saying this to say I know so much, but this was some of the stuff. I'm like, it's just too soon to say those things. I'm not saying the dude can't coach. I'm not saying the dude needs to get fired either. What I'm saying is somebody needs to take his plate, because he's the proverbial 5-year-old with a Big Mac on it. It's too much for him. Take the
Right.
play.
And I hope he's the one to do it, because if the front office forces him to
He's probably going to
give a play call, he's gonna have animosity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna make things worse. So I hope that he has a moment who's like, okay, it's too much for me. Like, put your egos aside, man. You know what I'm saying? And we always get these coaches like this, think they smarter than everybody else. And they can't admit when they need some help. So the first red flag was, the Rashard Higgins thing. That had me concerned. The second red flag was the special teams, where Baltimore is trying to do a fake punt and they're trying to quick snap to keep us from subbing. And the referees do us a favor. They catch it twice. You call a timeout and you still get caught with 12 men on the field after all is said and done and give them a first down.
How?
I'm like, what? How do you do that?
How?
For one thing, I know that the coach normally designates the player to count the special teams. So the thing is, if that guy's not doing his job, like, what are you doing on the sidelines to tell whoever you designate to do that to get on his job? Like, what are you doing? Are you too caught up in something else that you're not paying attention? Somebody on the coaching staff has to catch that.
But he is, he's too busy trying to, be an octopus with two arms.
Yeah.
That's
like the lack of discipline with the pre-snap penalties, the offsides on defense, the illegal, I don't know how many illegal formations that we've had, things that's costing us big plays, that hasn't been fixed all season. I can see early on in the season, you trying to get acclimated, but now in week 12, this stuff is inexcusable, man. And I'm dumbfounded because I didn't think we'd be back here.
Not this
I really
soon.
didn't.
If we were going to be
I really
back,
didn't think we'd be back here.
Not this soon. And I only say not this soon because even good teams have lulls in between certain years, but it rarely happens the year after you are really kind of good.
We're back to 2004 all over again. We can't score. All of a sudden, they don't know how to score. I don't know.
It's not good, man. It's not good. It's not. 2 weeks, last week rather. I'm sorry. In the midweek show or after the post game show, I kept saying that the offense just lacked cohesion. I said there was no cohesive idea. There was no cohesive movement. There was no cohesive play calling. It was kind of all over the place. And then I made fun of myself in the midweek show because I listened to the show and I said, damn, it wasn't a cohesive effort like 52 times in the show.
Yeah, it's not a cohesive effort.
But guess what? I'm right back at it again. There was nothing cohesive about yesterday's game. Not to mention, we are not a cohesive offense and we are not a complementary offense. Nothing that we did was complementary to the defense, nor was it complementary to the last successful play that we made. Like, you do one thing and then okay, that worked, so let's see if this will work. Like, he's playing to, I used to say this about Freddie Kitchens too. He's playing to see if this works. This ain't preseason. This ain't practice. This is where it actually counts. So we can't be doing this, let's see if it works stuff.
Right.
We cannot. Have to be playing. And if you can't figure out anything that works, you should already know that there's a few things over here that almost always work. Certain things that you hang your hat on, like running the damn football. I get it. They got 30 people in the box. I understand that. That's still no reason for you to flat out. Marlon Humphrey said, hey, we always play well against the run, yada, yada, yada. But he said, I was as shocked as anybody. They just stopped running. That's exactly, how the hell does Nick Chubb have 8 carries?
Right.
in the whole game.
But you know what's even bigger concern to me is that we don't even have a competent passing game to be the 8-man front anymore.
No, but you know what? Guess whose fault that is? He's
right.
And
the thing is, like, people ask, well, what's so different from last year to this year? And the main thing is that the passing game is broken. That's what's the main difference on the offense.
You know,
that's why it's never flow.
It's been health. We were a lot healthier than last year.
That's right.
Health has had some effects on this year, but then he's at a like I don't want to say certain things, but it's truthful. You have to simplify when this guy ain't capable of this. So you got to simplify some things. Baker in his state right now, you already know. I'm not a fan of giving this dude no credit for being hurt. Not at all. You playing, then you must not be that damn hurt. But if from a schematic standpoint, I know they're like he's a little bit injured. So we got to do certain things a certain kind of way. That's another one of the reasons why we're going so 3 tight end, because they're doing so much to try to, run block it. I mean, pass block and do as much as they can to protect Baker. But there's other stuff. Like, this dude is the offensive guy, not me. But I know that there's other things that you can do. There's other stuff that you can do that will help your quarterback and help be your offense. I said it in the in the midweek show.
Now one thing
we need to go quick.
One thing would help if they just catch the damn ball. That's something that would help. It's just an overall.
That would help too, because in some of those drops, in a lot of those drops, that eases some of the pressure off of Stefanski. It eases some of the pressure off of Baker. It eases some of the pressure on the offensive line. Sometimes you have to just get a few things going.
Yeah. So basically, what this speaks to is that the concentration level is just not there. The focus is just not there.
And that's what I was going to say.
Well, put it this way. I would say that it's inconsistent on both sides of the ball. Like, it's been like that for most of the season. Baker's at this point now where he's not playing hurt. He's just flat out injured. And when you're just flat out injured, you got to get him out of there. I don't understand why he's so stubborn about that. And he got mad in his press conference yesterday where he, for the first time, he got snippy with the report. He never gets snippy and upset. And I think he went at Tony Grossi pretty hard about asking him if he thought about making and it wasn't even that load of a question. All he asked him, like, at any point in time during the game, did you think about changing quarterbacks? And he got upset about the question. He was like, man, we're not doing that today. It's a legitimate question.
Can be an ass. We all know that. Tony Grossi can be an ass. But I don't think that was an asshole of a question. I think it was a fair question. I think it was, and it was a question that needed to be asked, because we all see it. And we're all at a point where we're like, okay, at what point does this dude see it? I think one of his responses was he's going to wait and talk to the medical staff and allow them to assess how healthy or unhealthy Baker is. On the radio, they were talking about this, and the commentator said, well, I think the doctor that we need to question is the team optometrist, because apparently he can't see. So, I mean, it's beyond borderline comical at this point. It's funny, and it's only kind of funny to me because I've at least slightly removed a lot of my emotions, because I was like, you know what? These cats ain't finna catch me in this. I'm lowering my expectations.
Right. And you got players questioning coaches, more so on the defensive side from last week. But when that starts happening, you're doing that in public. Like, it's not a healthy locker room right now. I don't think it's like total and complete dysfunction in the locker room, but it's too much stuff. Now you got Kareem Hunt's father blasting Baker in public. That's going to, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's way too much little stuff that it's going to cause tension in the locker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish that these parents and these family members or whatever just shut, please.
They're not.
You don't have to. Everything doesn't have to be said.
They're not going.
You don't realize what you're causing in that locker room. Whether you like Baker or not, as a player's family member, that's still the quarterback. That's still somebody they have to go into battle with every Sunday. And you're putting your family member, that's his teammate, in a precarious position because now he got to answer for you.
Every time.
You know?
Every time.
Every time.
I mean, and that's basically what I said last week.
Like, there's just too much going on.
Like, I'm sick of Emily. And you know, generally I don't speak on too many people's wives and all that kind of stuff. That's a little bit, you know, kind of over the line. But bro, you gotta tell your girl to, you know, Twitter,
she's putting herself out there. So
Twitter figure Mayfield, put your phone down, please. And now we gotta have the same discussion with Big Kareem. We gotta ask Big Kareem to stand down a little bit and chill out.
Right.
But
and then he was probably frustrated because they weren't playing him. That's another red flag. Okay, you bring the kid off the IR and then you proceed to not use them at all. Like, we ain't got time for no pitch counts and stuff like that with these guys. If you're gonna put them in there,
we don't have time for a bunch
put
of
them
stuff
in there.
Well, you gotta think too. We don't have time for pitch counts. We don't have time for guys being healthy enough to play. But now we're gonna try to, because that was something else I had a problem with. It was Stefanski's substitutions, not just 12 men on the field type substitutions, but like end of the game on the line, Kareem Hunt on the bench, Nick Chubb's on the bench.
You got Deontay Johnson in the game. Yeah, what is that about?
Like, what the hell is that? Who you fooling with that? Everybody in the world knows you got to pass. You trying to throw them off a little bit? Like, that's like,
and Nick Chubb is not a bad receiver running back. We just don't use him in that capacity.
He's not.
Matter of fact, if you're gonna do that, you can put him and Kareem up there at the same time.
I don't understand why they don't do that. I've said that before. Somebody, it may have been you. Somebody gave me a pretty solid thought process on it. I mean, it made sense in that moment. Like, do you want, if they're both out there, one of them probably is going to stand and block, or one of them might have
I made that argument for them, like in a regular formation. Like you said, you regular pro set formation, one of them going to have to be like a lead blocker or something like that. But in a situation when you're doing a 2-minute drill at the end of the game, you're not really leaving a protector back there in the backfield necessarily. Sometimes you do. But at that point, if you're short on weapons, at that time, that's when you would want to use them at the same time. That's just another, matchup problem for the defense.
That's something else that I'm wondering when he always talks about what he did with Bill Callahan and what he did with Alex Van Pelt, during the week. I'm like, I don't know that he did any of that, or if he listened at all. Like, he needs to, again, I'm not requiring this dude give up his job. I am requiring that he gives up the play call. He's trash. He is absolute trash at it, especially in this particular moment. Everything ain't working good. He's not giving his team the ability to gather any momentum. He's not giving them opportunities to execute properly. Sometimes it's because of the damn substitutions. So, of course, sometimes it's the injuries or whatever. But if you're not deep enough, and I said this too, when they let go, who did they let go of? One of the utility linemen they got rid of, and I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you're gonna need that depth.
Yeah, you can never have too much offensive line depth. And now look at us. we're in a spot where I said this on one of the sports groups today, and guys was like, "What are you talking about?" I had the exact same injury that Jack Conklin has right now. The exact same injury. Now I understand he's a professional athlete. He's gonna get whatever care I got. He's gonna get that times 10 because they're gonna try to get him back going as quickly as possible. He's worth millions of dollars, so they're gonna try to get him back. But what I'm saying is, just based on what I know from my own personal, and I had pretty good care, even once he comes back and he's close to 100%, he ain't going to be 100%. So I said, we're going to have to look for another right tackle in the draft or in free agency. No, he won't. He'll be back next year. You don't understand the severity of that injury. And I'm telling you, we're going to need to get another right tackle. Somebody who can play right tackle. What's his name? Hance is decent, but he ain't no right tackle.
No, he's not.
He didn't play terrible yesterday, but he ain't no right tackle. But saying all that to say, Kevin Stefanski is not putting his team in the best football playing situations. He's just not. The play calling is terrible. You threw a pass to Jarvis Landry for 30-something yards. You finally got something to work offensively from your quarterback to a receiver, something that hasn't really worked or happened much this season. You move the ball. You got down the field. What's your next play? I know. Let's put Baker Mayfield at wide receiver and do a direct damn snap
Right.
to the wide receiver. So you're going to put your quarterback who's hurt in a position where he might have to block or catch a ball. So either as a defender, I know the ball ain't coming over here, he hurt. Or here's my chance to at least knock this dude down for no damn reason because I already know he's injured. That's the dumbest freaking thought process on the planet. It's stupid. And if I'm not saying it, Kevin Stefanski's stupid. This is why I know he's in over his head. He's not thinking. He can't see the forest for the trees, man. He can't see the forest for the trees.
That was a game yesterday where you just had to bring your lunch pail, strap it up, and do nothing fancy yesterday. Period. It was one of those games.
And it was
Baltimore knew that. The Ravens knew that because they ain't really do nothing fancy yesterday. They did all. They got lucky. They got lucky as hell on a few plays, but they didn't try to do anything fancy at all. Here's another thing too. Here's another thing, another problem that I have, and this goes Joe Woods. You know, we had a good performance the past 2 weeks. Where's this aggressiveness on a weekly basis? This is a team that defensively, we have players that are set up to be aggressive. You can see that. So we pretty much nobody really shuts down Lamar running. And one thing I said, I wasn't able to be on the midweek show or anything like that to talk about it. But one thing I was telling other people, I was like, we cannot let Lamar have 150 on the ground. You keep him under 100, you got a shot. Like, you ain't gonna completely shut him down.
No, you're not.
Football, you're not. But if you can somehow contain him and just don't let him go completely nuts, you have a chance, and that's what they did. I mean, they were hitting him. They were laying the wood to Lamar.
Yeah, they were laying the wood.
They were being physical.
They did what I've been saying for a while, which is you have to put when you get opportunities to hit him, you got to hit his ass. I don't care if he gets a first down. You get a chance to take a shot, and I don't mean injure the guy. I don't mean do nothing dirty. I'm talking about let him know in the first quarter, bam, I'm gonna be here for the rest of the game, homie, and keep that. And I saw some of that yesterday. What did they kept him 68 yards, under 70 yards. So we put ourselves, and a lot of that was JOK.
It was
a monster.
He was. He had a great game. Clowney had a good game. Miles Garrett was being disruptive. Yeah, Miles was being disruptive, and then Newsome and John Johnson. really all those guys, man, were bringing the heat
all
yesterday.
of the guys down the middle. And that was one of the keys to the game was
But
Mark
listen,
Andrews.
but Joe Woods. Go ahead.
Mark Andrews was one of my keys to the game. What his effect on the game? He's their number one receiver, and he's the safety valve whenever dude gets in trouble. Whenever Jackson gets in trouble, especially if he's scrambling or whatever, he always seems to find this dude 30 yards downfield for no reason. So I'm like, this is an opportunity for all of those free agents we signed, John Johnson, freaking Anthony Walker. It's an opportunity because all of his routes are generally up the middle, up a seam. This is an opportunity for y'all to show up and show why we got y'all. And I'll be damned if all four of the picks that we got yesterday were on passes to Mark Andrews, and these guys were right there with him. So at least there was some glimmer of, well, at least they knew what they were doing. Somebody watching some film in that building somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Jeez, they do not pay me to do this show or to be this knowledgeable about the damn Browns or the Ravens. That's their job. And I know this stuff. So why don't you guys know this stuff? And again, I agree with you, Sean. The levels of aggression, and they weren't overly aggressive. I thought they should have blitzed more because Lamar doesn't do well against the blitz. Right. However, they were much more aggressive and did some different things on the line that you're not used to seeing. I saw Tack McKinley come out of nowhere to stop a run that still got about 4 yards, but it would have been about 15 yards if he hadn't came out of nowhere to make like a shoestring tackle. Right. Like that level of, I got to get to the ball, I'm getting at the ball. It looked like a team that was, coached during the week on what to do.
Right. And so Joe Woods, we're going to need this performance for the rest of the season because the offense ain't going to do nothing.
I said flat out, hey, we're going to have to score on defense.
Yeah.
Because I got no faith in offense.
And right now, I don't have any faith or confidence just in the Browns organization right now as a whole. I can't. Like, I'm at the point now where I have to go back to emotionally detaching myself from my football team for a minute. Because I can't, man, it's like when I'm looking at right now is just complete. It's weird. Really, this football season period has been weird, and not just for the Browns, just for the NFL period. Like nothing really is making sense right now, and what my football team is doing right now doesn't make any sense. I really did not. I feel kind of blindsided right now. I really do because I didn't expect this. I was like, now we did disagree on when they should have pulled Baker before, and I still stand by that. But now when he's dealing with really probably about, they say he got 3, but it's probably about 6, 7 injuries he's dealing with. No, and I'm not even, because this dude, every time he gets hit, he's grimacing, man. He's holding on to his shoulder, he's getting treatment on the sideline with his heel messed up, knee, foot, everything. So, and that's just probably not even half the aches and pains he's dealing with.
I'm sure, because that's the parts of him that's actually injured. Right. When you play football, man, everything hurts for no reason. You just got bruises and sprains and pulls and whatnot. So,
and you're paying Case Keenum $6 million a year. Let him do some spot duty. That's what he's there for. He can't. He at this point, like I said, I have to eat crow. You've been saying this for weeks. Like he can't do any worse.
I mean, Baker, again, I get it from an ego standpoint, and from who the hell wants to get taken out of a game if you feel like you can go play.
Yeah, Baker's not gonna pull himself out as long as his right arm is working. He ain't gonna pull himself out.
Listen, that dude is gonna show up like the Knights of the Templar on Monty Python, dog. He'll be hopping with one leg cut off, his other arm cut off. Talking about it's just a flesh wound, But you don't get points for being tough. Tough don't get you nothing, especially when being tough doesn't translate to us winning too. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing to be tough and you gritted out this tough win. It's something else when you are hurt and you trying to be tough and you look basic and you look like you should be sitting down.
Yeah.
That's what you look
It's
like.
definitely something. It's definitely something wrong in that.
I mean, at this point, everything is wrong, though, Sean.
There's definitely stuff wrong, man. Yesterday, I was to the point, man, in the fourth quarter, I started thinking about the draft. I started thinking about like what do we need to make the team better? And I'm like, I'll be damned.
Apparently, I did too. I told you I was thinking about we need a right tackle.
Right. So, and I was like, man, it's like we need a damn receiver.
But while we need a receiver, we also, my thing is the type of receiver that we need right away. I don't know if we're going to get right away because of where we're going to end up drafting. So you're going to end up with a decent receiver, but you're probably going to end up with a guy that you got to develop some, like Schwartz. You know, so I don't think Schwartz is a bad receiver. He just couldn't run a route of his life depending on it in this moment. Right. You know what I mean? So, but, you know, and the stuff that was happening in the game as I'm watching it, as it's unfolding in front of me, it just was leaving me. Like, the defense was on the field and I was feeling okay. But then as soon as we get like a 3 and out or we force a punt or whatever, everything went away. Like it just took the steam out of any kind of faith I had in what defense had just. That's what I mean by complimentary football.
And we didn't even nothing to help as aggressive as Baltimore was. We attempted one screen, and on that one screen, he fumbled the ball. So, but you saw how open the play was. So, like, you don't even try to do it again.
You saw how open that play was. That pass to Bryant down the when they was in zero, they were in zero defense, and he just chipped and went right out into the route. He just floated it back there and got him in a good spot.
Right.
That could work on just about every one. You don't got to go 30 yards downfield, but all of these are plays that has proven that they work. Why are you looking for something else to see if it works? When we've already proven in this game, these are things that work. But you know,
and I guess it's okay for Marlon Humphreys to like hug a receiver all the way down the field. I guess that's legal for him.
I mean, apparently it is because he definitely did it on more than one play. By the way, he mugged Njoku. He was. I mean, he mugged that dude, man. It was ugly.
That dude was super handsy.
I don't think he turned his head around on that play either.
No. And now Chris Collinsworth did kind of co-sign what I was saying to you earlier. Now Nick Chubb should have definitely got more than 8 attempts, and should have had more attempts total between him and Hunt. But he was showing man, it's 8-9 in the box, but he was like the Browns just can't make enough intermediate pass plays to make them back off of it. He was kind of, I don't want to say he was dogging us, but he was just like, man, how can you not hit on some plays when they pretty much giving it to you?
Well,
in the passing game.
And that's a problem. So here's where I was at with the running. Yeah, you know me, I'm always about running. Run the damn ball. The damn Ravens have, since their inception, they've blitzed. That's what they do. They load the box up and they just gonna send exotic looking blitzes. They'll have it looking 0 and actually only blitz 4. So it throws you off. It messes you up on your audibles or whatever like that. But what I was saying is, I understand that these cats have done X, Y, and Z, but I've seen lesser running backs and teams with who are not the number one running team in the NFL run the ball more. Maybe they didn't get 200-300 yards like we are used to getting, 150, 160 yards a game. I'm not even looking for them to get 150, 160 yards, but you got to run the doggone ball. You still, because I'll tell you what, even in zero blitz, if you get one good block on a guy and Nick Chubb finds a seam and breaks a tackle, he's back behind these guys. If you recall, we were in Baltimore when he ran one of his longest runs of his career on the same type of defense.
Yeah.
It's just about getting the bodies out there and getting on the block. Huh?
Well, one of the problems we're going to have going forward is that, especially with the teams that we're going up against coming up, they're all going to do the same recipe.
Oh yeah,
all playing good thing. So that's what I'm saying. They're going to have to figure out some way to somewhat at least put a Band-Aid on this passing game and get it respectable. Because if you don't get it respectable, that's all they're going to do is load that box and kind of force you to throw. They're going to take away the run game. So they have to, if they don't figure that out at all, then it's a wrap. Like in the NFL, today's NFL, you could not be a playoff caliber team if you can't throw the ball. The only way you can do that if you got a Hall of Fame type defense like the Ravens did in 2000 when they had Trent Dilfer. That's the only way you can get away with that. Yeah. If not, no team is going to be able to win unless you got some, and vice versa. You got to have some type of running game too. Like you can't win a championship just throwing. I don't think Kansas City may have been the closest thing to a team that throws all the time to win a championship.
Their running game, part of their running game is the passes.
Right.
A lot of them wide receiver screens, running back screens, jet sweeps, and stuff like that.
And they had a competent running game. You know what I'm saying? They did have guys that could run. It wasn't like the 84 Dolphins who couldn't run at all. You know, I want nothing of that ilk. But you've got to have, some type of balance. You don't have any balance. Look at Tennessee now. You lose Derrick Henry. Now they're being exposed that they don't have nothing else. And now they're being
anybody who knows football knew what to do to that team. Do as much as you could to take away Derrick Henry and put that game on Tannehill. And that's what teams are going to do to us. Nobody wants to contend with Nick Chubb running down their throat all game, or Kareem Hunt, or hell, Dearness Johnson either, for that matter. But this dude behind me has to do a better job of making it simpler for his offensive line and for his quarterback and for his running backs, for that matter, because you'll get some of those lanes. Like Collinsworth was saying, like you were saying, I was saying the same thing, but it wasn't happening. You still got to run the ball. You can't run the ball 17 times and throw the ball 37 times in a game that you lost by 6 damn points. Like the way we was throwing the ball, it was like we was down 40 or something. We're not. And if you're going to throw that many times, it should have been more than one damn screen involved in it.
Everything is just falling apart. Not the kicker who's been lights out all year. Now all of a sudden, now he can't kick anymore.
He can't. Man, as soon as he kicked it, I said, it looked like it might squeeze in, and then it was like this wind was just like, like right at the end, dog. I was like, oh my gosh. And hell, one of the ones he made hit the damn upright, hit the same upright, and it just happened to ricochet in. So I mean, it's like a lot of stuff. Also, I'm not calling this dude the Scottish Hammer ever again in life.
Nope.
All his punts, I don't think this dude has kicked a punt beyond 40 yards this year.
Exactly.
He's terrible. He's terrible. The whole special team.
The whole special teams are terrible. They're horrible. They're bad on coverage. The returners we have like to run sideways. Like Felton, like next time you catch a punt, just turn it up the field, man. Ain't nothing wrong with trying to get yards. Nothing wrong with trying to get a few yards. You just run horizontal. Trying to break it all the time, man. Just get 9, 10, 12 yards.
Get some.
Call it a day.
If you get 8 yards, most guys on a punt return don't average much more than 8-9 yards per punt return. So you ain't going running to the side. It's just like in being a running back, running to the side. Don't nobody like lateral running backs. When
Man,
have you heard east-west running backs that you was impressed by? They only impressed by the north-south guys.
right.
So run the ball up the field, get what you can get, and let that be that. But when every aspect, every facet of the game is breaking down, it's hard to watch. It's hard to, even as a fan that's kind of detached himself, it's just too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
Don't nobody
And,
want to watch
and,
it.
and I would ask you, where do we go from here for the rest of the season and try to fix it? We ain't no use of doing that. We'll just sit here, be talking for our help, because then he ain't gonna change. Right now, that dude, he showed us who he is, and that is a stubborn, grouchy coach right now. That's like, I'm going to do this my way, and I'm gonna force it to work, whether y'all like it or not, because I know my way is better, and it's going to work. And I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. I want to be so wrong that our listeners and our comments dog us for being negative. I told you so. Blah blah blah. I want that. I want to be wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong. I got the Browns. What we got? 6 games? No,
5.
5 games left.
Yeah,
we're gonna go 7 and 10. Yeah, we're gonna win. We'll probably beat the Raiders. So the Raiders stink.
I don't think we're gonna beat the Raiders.
Raiders ain't that good.
We don't.
We ain't that good either.
We don't have to be that good. We're not that good right now.
I know, but the Raiders are just as dysfunctional as we are.
Man,
so listen. I think if we're gonna get a game, that'll be the game we'll get. Because we ain't beating Baltimore at home after the bye. We're not gonna beat Green Bay on Christmas.
Nope.
We're not gonna beat Pittsburgh on the road, and we not gonna beat Cincinnati that last game of the season. Because they're gonna have by that time they're gonna have something to play for, and we ain't. So
I don't think we're gonna beat the Raiders, and we might beat Pittsburgh. That's about the only. But again, we still talking the same thing. We both talk about one potential
one more potential win.
We still both talking about one potential win. I actually was trying to figure out a way that we could get 3 wins to go 9-8, but I don't think that ain't happening. Now again, like you say, not
unless he's going to have to show me some flexibility, and some changes in how he's coaching his team right now.
Well, we already know that he ain't going to stop talking. So, he's refused to drop that. We already know that Baker is going to be the quarterback, which isn't terrible because maybe 14 days off will do him some good. Maybe. I've been calling for him to get 14 days off.
For what I know. Yeah, you have.
So I don't know. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But now we've put ourselves in a position where whenever, how everybody was saying, oh, you gotta put your best players out there to get your guys to give you the best chance to win. And that was earlier in the season where we had opportunities to lose a game here, lose a game there. Now we're at a spot where you can't lose, because even if we were to win out, some miraculous situation occurred and we won 5 and we're like 11 and 6 or 10-7, something like that. There's going to be other 10-7 teams in the playoffs. So we better hope that they ain't a team that we play.
Right.
Because they'll have the tiebreak over us. So like right now, we almost only, I think we have like a 20-something%. I saw this on
19. Yeah.
So the real only shot we have is through the division.
And that's done.
And we've already lost 2 games in the division. If we lose,
I won't say it's done, but are we gonna win 3 more games?
We got 3 division games left. The Ravens, of course, the Steelers, and the Bengals. We got 3 left. We won 2. Do you see us winning all three of those games because that's the only way.
I'm not really seeing us winning too many games at all.
That's what I'm saying. So you only got us winning one game, and the one game you mentioned was not an AFC North game. So that's it. Like if we lose one more game in the division, we're not winning the division. We're not, because I don't see us beating Cincinnati, and I don't see us beating. I do see us beating the Steelers, but I just don't see us beating the Ravens. Where the Ravens are going to be ready to. They're gonna come out. They're gonna be a little more relaxed. They're not throwing 4 interceptions again.
No,
So
not at all. That'll never happen. And speaking of that, the Browns broke a streak yesterday. The streak that they broke was in the last 52 games where a team has thrown 4 interceptions. That team has went 0-52. Last win was by Cincinnati when Andy Dalton threw 4 interceptions. They still won the game. The Browns conveniently snapped that streak yesterday.
We are
making us look more foolish. Then NBC clowned us when they were showing talking about how many divisional games everybody won. Everybody, like, one team was the king, the other one was the queen or whatever, and we were the court jester. I was like, see. And I was like, man, this is where we at again, man. So
even Chris Collinsworth was like, what?
Right.
It's like, what are y'all doing? But I mean, unfortunately, bro, we right back, and
we deserve it. All the grief we're catching nationally and locally. I used to hate it. I used to feel some type of way about it, but we actually deserve it. Bring it all on, because we deserve it. Maybe that'll wake these fools up or something, man. But they deserve all the grief.
Who you wanting to wake up? Because dude, I want to wake up is this guy right here.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I want him, and I want the team to wake up too.
I don't think it is. I don't think this ain't gonna wake him up. I don't think it's gonna wake him up. And the only reason I don't think it's definitely not this year.
Right. So soon as all these idiots running around in Halloween costumes before the game, I knew that this is not a well-oiled run machine right now, because they focus everywhere but on winning football games. But anyway, man, this is where we're at. We got a bye week, much needed bye week. Now I can actually relax. Well, I can't relax. Next Sunday, we actually give my mom a retirement party.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's been stressful. I never organized anything like this in my life. And has it been incredibly hard? No, but it's like a lot of irritating stuff, people trying to RSVP and not RSVP and talking about they still want to go at the last minute and all that type of stuff. That's neither here nor there. But at least next Sunday, I don't have to worry about the Browns. Now, do you have anything else to say about the game, before we move on to Ohio State? Because I'm pretty much sick of talking about these bums right now.
I don't want to talk about the Browns no more.
I really don't want to talk about Ohio State either. But
yeah, I don't want to talk about that game, but let's talk about it because it's necessary.
It's necessary.
So, as we know, as most of us know, Ohio State, Michigan, Saturday at noon, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, every year for the last 100 or so years. And what has seemed like every Saturday after Thanksgiving for the last 100 years, Ohio State has won. This year was at least slightly different because it was actually way different because we didn't just lose. We kind of got it handed to us. They kind of beat us up. It was a sloppy environment in the game. The elements were there, but that's the type of game you want, to me. And that game should be that way. It's supposed to be cold. It's supposed to be wet. It's supposed to be a little sloppy. I expected to see a little bit more out of Ohio State. from an offensive standpoint. I think, to be honest, I don't think Ohio State took Michigan that serious.
I don't think they did either.
I think Ryan Day got a little cocky. And then after he got a little cocky and saw what was happening, he then began to panic, a lot like this gentleman right here. He got to a point. I think the worst thing that happened is that we scored a touchdown. We actually looked pretty good. So he kind of felt like, oh, okay, we're where we need to be. And then they stopped doing some of the things that were working. I thought CJ looked good, though. I know we lost, but he showed me something. I know during the Oregon game, he was lost when things were going bad.
CJ has grown up this season, man. He didn't play a bad game at all, man. That game pretty much fell on the defense for the most part. And I think I agree with you that I think Ohio State took Michigan lightly, got cocky, and Michigan came out with the mentality like they refused to lose that game. Like they had enough. They were like, enough is enough. And really, to be honest with you, us Ohio State fans, I think more so than any other year, even nationally, the national media, we were kind of being mad disrespectful, to Michigan and to Harbaugh. And I think that they were just like, we sick of this shit. We're not going to lose this game. And I could tell, like, on the first two drives, how physical they were. Like, anytime you start seeing the opposing teams, running backs, and receivers, like, after they get contact and they refuse to go down and they consistently getting 3, 4, 5 yards after contact, that's when you know that team is being more physical than yours, and the mentality is different on both sides of the ball. They came to win that game. They came to embarrass Ohio State. I won't say embarrass. It wasn't an embarrassing loss, but they just out physical us. They pretty much just beat us up and kicked our ass. And I took my medicine like a man. Like all my Michigan fans, I went ahead and called them. Like, hey, I ain't necessarily giving them like a congratulations. I was just like, look, y'all got us. I can take my medicine like a man. Enjoy the win. Because I knew it was going to happen sooner or later. I didn't think it was going to happen this year.
It had to happen.
But it had to happen at some point.
I didn't expect for it to happen this year. I think offensively, this team is so good. I just felt like we present something to them that they haven't seen all season, and we could exploit that with our trio of wide receivers. Our offensive line isn't like great, but we have been playing better. Travion have been running, doing well. So my thoughts were offensively, that ain't our issue. My issue was with the defense. And I felt like because our offense was so good, almost the opposite of what I would have said for the Browns. Our offense is really good. Our defense stinks. What we need to do is what we did against Michigan State, which is get up early and make Michigan a one-dimensional team because they like to run. We don't play well against the run.
Nope.
If we can get up 2 or 3 touchdowns, or maybe not 2 or 3 touchdowns, but if we can get up and show that we can move the ball on this offense, on their defense, it puts pressure on them to make McNamara throw the ball, which is what I would rather have. Because they don't run nothing great on offense. They run a ball control offense. They just short, smart passes, whatever the defense gives to them, get themselves in short yardage situations and then hand it off to Haskins, and he averages about 4.5, 5 yards a carry. So I'm like, you got to put them in third and longs, force the quarterback to beat you. Don't let Haskins beat you because we're bad at stopping the run. The problem was we got a defensive coordinator on Ohio State that's a lot like this goofball behind me, where he just refuses to come out of what he feels works. So they stayed in base defense all day, and they tore their asses up with all those runs.
And one thing that Michigan did defensively that was smart was they took away the big play.
Yep.
I don't know what kind of defense they were playing, but they took away us from taking really too many deep shots down the field. Well, and on top of that, they were able to get good pressure. This was with their front four.
Like to me, they were going to get pressure. You got two dudes on their defense with over 10 sacks. So that's Ojabo had 11 sacks, and Hutchinson had 10 coming into the game.
Right.
So these guys can get sacks. And I called this, the reason that we couldn't get no big plays is because they put all of their efforts in stopping our pass game. So once you do that, once you slow down the pass, keep us from going over the top, all we have now is the run game. I kept saying all day before the game, during the midweek, so we need to go short passes, short, quick passes to nullify that front four, because that front four is good. And they showed that all day. They showed it all day. They were all over the place, all day long. Hutchinson, every time I looked up, I either saw Hutchinson or heard his damn name being called. Same thing with Ojabo. Ojabo was all over the damn place. The best thing they did was they ran Garrett up a seam against Ojabo. I'm like, every time he come in the game, they need to run that play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it made him have to cover him, and he can't cover that dude up the seam. So, but they didn't go to that, but I think they went to it like one or two more times, but not enough to make it. You remember when we played Miami in the national championship game, and them cats remembered that they had K2, like it went all game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like 7 or 8 plays straight, they just was killing us with Kellen. That's what I feel like. Once you see something that works, that you know can work, go to it until they stop it, especially in those types of games, because ain't no tomorrow. And I know, as an Ohio State fan, I don't ever want to lose to Michigan. I ain't gonna lie. I'd be lying to everybody on the planet if I said I'm okay with Michigan winning a game or so. No, the hell I'm not. I hate it. I wish we had 1 to 3 games in the last 20 years that we actually lost. Oh, that's just me.
Right.
But I do know that there's 2 teams on either side of that ball. So if this team is going to play well, and they did, we need to match how well they play. Even if you can't always match the physical, you can take some of that start. So you already know the beginning of that game is going to be adrenaline filled. They had 105,000 people in there going berserk. They are sick of losing to us. They're pumped up. They're ready to go. Had we came out and been able to, you know, capture some of what we normally would do, 1 or 2 plays here and there, I think we would have taken the crowd out of the game. But I knew it was over with on the first snap. We had the 2 damn yard line, and this man just gonna hike the ball. Did he say hike?
Yeah, they did start off that game playing nervous,
and that was it.
On both sides of the football, they were nervous. Yeah,
they was nervous as hell, and the offensive line got every procedural call that they could think of. They got hold.
Oh man,
they got false starts. They got too many knee braces on. They had anything that they could do wrong up there. They look confused. They look like, remember I texted you, I said they look shook. I was more or less talking about
they did.
The offensive line. They look shook. And then defensively, the defense isn't that good. So going forward, they need a new defensive coordinator. But they also need to get as many 4- and 5-star defensive ends and as possible, because that's something that we missed. Think about this, man. For I don't know how many years in a row in this series, we had Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, and Chase Young. How the hell can you have any success when you got animals like that on the other side?
Yeah, remember what I said, this year is like the first year where they don't have any professional athletes really on defense. The only one like Tyreek Smith, I think he'll get drafted. He won't be in the first round. But you know, some of these guys, they'll get picked up, but
They'll get
it's
picked up.
it's not the same. It wasn't a typical Ohio State D.
But it's not going to be early. You know, we get guys like Denzel and you know, these guys coming out in the first, getting picked in the first, you know, 10 picks, 2 or 3 of them in the first 10 picks. That ain't happening.
Right.
I think that one big difference maker in this game that we're used to having was actually on the other side of the field, and that was Hutchinson. That dude, Aiden Hutchinson, is crazy. Like
yeah, he is.
he's really, really good. I knew he was good, but the way he played the other day, man, that was like a special type of
man.
good.
There's one play where I forgot the name of our left tackle, but he pretty much like threw that dude to the ground. Literally, as soon as the ball was snapped, he pushed that dude like 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
And it didn't even look hard.
No.
It didn't even look like he was struggling to do it. Like it was not a good game, but I expected them to. That's their strength. That's their strength. They play the ball control on offense, so the quarterback doesn't do a whole lot of stuff to put them in bad situations. They have a really good defense. So the defense goes out there, stops the team, and then eventually they're in this field position type of battle, and they end up scoring. Now we're up, and now we can unleash our defense. And we, you know what I mean? It works very well for what they do. It really wasn't a situation that we couldn't overcome. We could have beat this team. We just went about it the wrong way. We didn't game plan.
Exactly.
And
it wasn't a mismatch by any means. They just played hard.
Yeah,
they executed better. Coach.
That was an effort win. That was an effort win, and it was a well coached game. And Harbaugh said something. I hate front rooms. It's one thing I understand y'all. It's been a while, so I'm like you. I got a lot of Michigan friends that felt like they had to let everybody in the world know that we lost, and that's fine. I get it. Harbaugh, I've never liked Harbaugh. No matter where he's been, I've never liked him. Didn't like him when he was a quarterback. Didn't like him when he was in the league. Didn't like him when he was at Stanford. Not a big fan of Jim Harbaugh. And he kind of proved why I'm not a fan of his as a front runner. However, this was hilarious. He said that he was talking about Ryan Day. He didn't say this directly, but I knew exactly what he was talking about. It was after the game. He said, well, sometimes you wake up on third base and think you hit a triple.
Right. I
was like, so we ain't heard from you in 5 years, and this is how you talking, bro? He's talking Fox and Tail, but that shit was funny because Ryan Day inherited, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And he didn't have to transform them into anything. To be honest, I think he did a really good job making them more of an offensive powerhouse. Problem now is what we're seeing. We're offensively inclined, but the defense, you better go get somebody who defensive
coordinator. We got to reload. I get some dogs on defense, man.
Yeah.
So shout out to Michigan. Enjoyed it win while it lasts. Now, like I told my homeboys, like y'all better not lose to Iowa. Because if y'all did all this, just lose to Iowa, I'm giving y'all so much grief.
I told them
I'm gonna be relentless.
I told them, stay focused. Don't use up all those memes y'all been saving for 10 years to use. Save some. Maybe y'all win again next year. We don't know. Save some. Act like you've been there. Wait, you haven't. Okay, I get it. I get it.
Exactly.
Somebody told me, oh, well, just don't worry about our team. Just tell me where you're going to watch the Big Ten championship next year. I said, I don't know. You tell me. Y'all have been the ones sitting on the sidelines all this time.
Right.
Where's a good place to watch the game?
Right.
So, listen, I'm always going to defend my spot, even though I can concede a good win. I ain't going to let y'all know that.
Exactly.
But it's all good.
It's all good, man. So, you got any other comments, concerns?
Only concern I got is taking that damn headset off that dude's head. that says offensive coordinator. He can be the coach. He needs to focus on the game. Kevin, take this week. Hopefully you go on a sabbatical. Hopefully your wife and your kids leave you alone and just let you sit in a hot tub of Epsom salt and a bottle of wine and some deep thought, man. I need you to come back in 2 weeks, ready to just be a head coach and let your guys that you hired and brought with you do their thing, man. Stop handcuffing, stop micromanaging, and let these guys win. And you're gonna get all the credit for it anyway. So
right.
Let
real
that
quick,
happen. Just let that happen, bro. It's all good.
Man, I'm looking at this Redskins Seattle game.
Yeah, me too.
I think Seattle has the worst offensive line that I've ever seen in my life. Russell Wilson been around here running like Kuta Kente the whole game. like he be getting chased with a dude with an axe.
I mean,
the whole freaking game. Like, this is awful. I mean, these dudes don't block nobody.
It's
but
like
anyway, I know.
As soon as he snapped the ball, he already running.
Right. I know about going on the tangents. That's neither here nor there. So anyway, check us out on Facebook at 2 Guys and a Mic 216, on YouTube at 2 Guys and a Mic 216, on Spotify, 2 Guys and a Mic, or any other streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and call it an evening, and we will see you guys as this is a bye week. Not sure when the next time we'll be on, so we might have a little bit of a hiatus, but that's something that we'll talk about and decide how you want to move during this bye week. And maybe we need a hiatus right now, because I really kind of just sick of talking about these people right now. Man, there ain't too much more. I don't have anything positive to say at all. So I gotta get ready to go to work in the morning. So RP, I'm gonna say good night to you. Have a good rest of your week.
All right, my brother. You have a good night too, man.
Take it easy, man.
Be careful, bro. Peace.
Will do. Peace out.